Hi everyone. I wanted to get on here and leave a video for you and just go over a few things that I know about this van. In less than 24 hours this auction will end and it will go to a new owner, and so I want to tell you a little bit about why we have it and try to touch on the things that I do know about it. So in December of 21, my wife and I went to Florida to take care of her mother, or to be with her mother while she was going through a medical protocol there and taking care of some health things. And normally when we're at the house in Florida, I just work from the dining room table while I'm there. But my work involves a lot of incoming phone calls, and we got there and we're only there for a few days, and I realized very soon that it wasn't going to work well that year because my mother-in-law was having a hard time falling asleep, and she would fall asleep at 3 or 4 a.m. and it wasn't going to work for me to be taking phone calls at 7 o'clock in the dining room right outside her bedroom. So I had this idea that maybe I can find a van, and hopefully a conversion van, where I'm able to maybe stand up inside of it and move around a bit like I can in this one. And so I hopped on the local marketplaces. I think actually on Craigslist is where I ended up finding it. And I found this one in the Venice, Nokomis area, and got in touch with the gentleman and went and looked at it. And it was an older couple that had owned it since it was new. It was one owner, and they were probably now in their 70s and just simply weren't using it very much. It was actually kind of her toy, and it was obviously a bit big just to be using for local running. And so he had it there at his business in an industrial park in a garage bay with some other toys, with his Corvette and his motorcycle and some other things. And I looked at it, realized it was a nice solid van, only had 106 or 7,000 miles, which for a 98 was low mileage, and tried to negotiate, but he had no interest in negotiating. He knew that it was a good solid van, and I may have paid a little more than market price, I'm not sure, but I needed a workspace. And what I ended up doing is buying it and taking it back, and I removed this seat, which I'll show you. These seats come out very easily. There's just a lever here where you rotate it, and that seat lifts right out of there. So I removed this seat, and I just went to Walmart or Home Depot and bought a folding table and had it setting in here and used that for my work seat. Had my computer and a printer and my file folders, everything I needed for work in this van, and installed an inverter here for my power. I think maybe I was using some other power sources as well, but I did use that inverter with a surge protector for my computer and the things I was using. So I worked from here for 3 months or so, I guess. I'd leave the house in the morning, go to the restaurant, have breakfast, then go find me a shady spot under a live oak or something, and just work from here. And so that was the original purpose. I am a little sentimental and had some good memories of riding around in vans like this when I was growing up. I grew up in a family of 6 siblings, so there was 8 of us, and from the early 80s through the mid 90s, my dad always had a GM van around, and that's what we used. And so when we came back, I had this idea, and we're only a family of 3. It's my wife and I and an adult son in his 20s. Had this idea that we would maybe get a road trip or 2 in, which we did. We came home in April or May of 22, and in June we went to a family event in Montana, and we enjoyed it very much. It was a really, really good road trip. And of course, this rear seat is the coveted seat when you want to take a nap. I'll show you. It does fold down into a bed. It folds back. I'll show you at the back here. And if you want to show them here, there's a switch up here on this sidewall, and then there's another one at the back, which I'll show you. But basically the way we used it, we had luggage behind it. We just had pillows here, and the person wanting to take a nap just took full advantage of the full length of this. So that was a very nice way to travel. And actually on our way back, one of the only times I got to use it for any length of time, I laid down here in the back of this van. I think it was in western Nebraska, and my son was driving. I wasn't sure if we were going to stop for the night and get a hotel, but I woke up the next morning all the way in eastern Iowa, and I laid down at sunset and woke up at sunrise, and I'd had a very comfortable night of just riding back here on my pillows. So when I started, because the van had not been used very much in the last, my guess is that it had not been used much in the last 10 years before they sold it. He told me that they spent most of the time in Florida with it. It had been to their trip, or to their home in Colorado. I think he said once or twice, but otherwise had been in Florida for most of its life. But when I got it, it had like new tires on it, or as far as the tread, there was hardly any tread wear, but they were already, they had some age to them. They were like dry cracking on the outside. They might have been 8 or 10 years old with hardly any tread used. And so I replaced wheels and tires, put all new brakes and drums on it. There was a problem with how the van idled not long after I bought it, and it ended up being an ECM problem. We thought maybe it was just a sensor problem, but I had a mechanic there in Florida look at it, and it ended up needing an ECM replacement, which was pretty expensive, but I did replace that, and I also replaced the control module for the cruise control. Mechanic went through it. The easiest way to say it is anything that it needed was done. Upper and lower control arms, I believe, on one side, some bushings, steering, everything that was needed there, with the exception of there is a very slow leak, like 1 or 2 drops per week off of the steering gearbox, and I haven't had that fixed. So that is, it doesn't make a big mess, but it is a little wet on the bottom of the steering gearbox. It was repainted. I guess this lady liked the pearl white color rather than the summit white that it came with, and so you can see in these door jambs that they did the transition. I don't know if you can see this, but the color transitions, they didn't do a full color change inside. So you can see here, this is bright white. This would be original paint. But then the transition happens like right inside the doors. Actually, it happens right there. And this rocker panel was the only thing that was showing rust on the body of the van at all. The only rust anywhere. And when I came back to West Virginia, I had my local body shop replace this entire rocker panel, which starts up there. I think you can see the transition right here, maybe where it was welded in. They did a very nice job of replacing this, and so this entire rocker panel was replaced, and it would come all the way back to here. Actually back to here. And so, but that color transition happens right inside the doorway, and that's how it is throughout the whole van. So you have your blinds throughout. Maybe now would be a good time to show you. The seats do lay back, but they only go back to that position. On this driver's seat, this is the only one that is power, but the controls for forward, back, tilt, all of that is right here on the armrest of this seat, and the rest of them, everything is mechanical. Take a look at engine compartment, but it's very bright out here this afternoon, so excuse the harsh lighting. I did replace the grill, and I did replace the headlight assembly. You can see this looks like a newer, they were just kind of faded and getting ugly, and so I just replaced the headlight assembly and the grill, and I have the originals if the buyer wants the originals that were in it. That's the only thing that I replaced as far as the body on it. Show you the dipstick here. I don't know, this is, you see the oil level on this. It was recently serviced, so the oil's very clean. But I'll show you what can be seen there, I guess, in this lighting. We'll start it up while we're there by the engine compartment. Kicking in there. I don't know if there's much of anything else to say here. The engine compartments are very tight, so you can't see much. There's no known problems with the van mechanic. It does have a lot of imperfections. It's not a showpiece. It looks very nice from across the street, but it does have a lot of imperfections in it. Probably the biggest thing on the outside is the clear coat is fading on this roof cap from kind of the top of the cap on up. It should be reshot. Just from this roof cap up, it should have new clear coat on it. I park it in the building, and so it wasn't a big concern for me, but I would have probably had it done at some point. As far as the interior, probably the biggest break or crack, which I'll show you, is right here on this engine cover. This entire cover comes off to get access to the back of the motor, as any of you van people know, and there are cracks running here and here. This one I put a piece of tape over it when I got it, just to kind of hold it in place. And so those are two of the biggest imperfections that I'd want you to know about. Otherwise, it is in really good condition. I put a new armrest on it here, or a door pull, when I got it, because the other one was kind of torn up, and I like things nice, so I replaced it. Not really thinking about the sale, but I'm glad now that I did. I'll show you the back here. The other switch for the sofa that I was talking about, where it folds back, and what happens there is this gets flipped down, this gets laid down, and then the sofa comes down to where it goes into a bed configuration. That's the basic principle there if you're using it as a bed. Otherwise, it could be up, and you can use the back for luggage, or you can flip it down and do it in various layers. It's got kind of a cargo net under here, and it's got the jack, and all the tools are in this bag.
I had a van exactly like this. Same color.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh. What year is this?
It's a 1998.
Did you get this off of a gentleman out in Short Gap by any chance?
No, I bought it in Florida about
Oh my
2 years ago.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, but I did. I had a van just like this. My husband and I tried to restore it back. It brings back. It brings back sentimental.
Well, we had a lot of good times in this as
So you're
as
selling
our family.
it?
Yeah, getting ready.
Sorry, can't afford it.
It'll be sold tomorrow. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay, so we go on. know if there's anything else I should tell you. I think there's things in the description that would tell you, answer most of your questions. If there's anything specific that you want to know about, let me know, and I'll try to answer questions. I'll take close-up shots, and really appreciate all the interest, and we'll look forward to seeing the new owner when you have it. Oh, this tank of gas, I just noticed a few minutes ago when I was driving it, it's chock full, so whoever the new owner is leaves with a full tank of gas.